Good evening. 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 Good evening.
Here now.
Jimi Hendrix.
Day number 9. Okay, no, go ahead.
Are you okay now?
You're good.
Can you hear me now? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 7th, 2024 Town Council meeting. Before we get going, we'll start with the pledge. Councillor Flood, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Hey. Pledge allegiance to the flag, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Before we get going for the evening, what was that?
Madam Chair, I move to seal the minutes from the non-public indefinitely.
Second.
All right, motion to seal the minutes and seconded on the motion, Councillor Churchilla.
Just a quick question. Do we really need to do it indefinitely?
Yes.
We do?
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Yes.
So votes yes. Councillor Flood?
Yes.
Councillor Ganesi?
Yes.
Councillor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Thank you for pointing that out. Before we get going, just a reminder, exits are to the back of the room and to the side. In emergency, please don't use the elevator. And on that note, we'll do a roll call. I've already said all your names, but Councillor Chirichella,
Good evening.
Councillor Foote,
Good evening.
Councillor Flood,
Hello.
Councillor Ganesi,
Good evening.
Councillor McEachern,
Good evening.
and Chair, good evening from the chair, excuse me. Councillor Webb had a pre-planned trip before he was elected, so he is enjoying that trip this evening. All right, is there a motion to enter public forum?
So moved. Second.
All right, motion to go into public forum and seconded by Councillor Ganesi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Public forum is now open.
Good evening, Ernest St. Pierre, Sunset Ave, Derry. A couple of weeks ago, I was here with Tony, and we made a presentation about the veterans' credits. I know the budget's going on, and you guys are going to vote on the budget tonight and all of that, but I just wanted to reiterate a few things that I've looked at since our meeting. And I copied down, I printed the summary of the budget today that is in the online. And it looks like we got something like $543,683 allocated for the veterans. We have to raise $29,371,374 for the budget and everything like that. We have a estimated valuation of $4,822 million plus. And looking at these numbers, and we have an estimated tax rate of $6.09 from what I'm seeing. I hope I'm correct on what I'm seeing here and reading it. But looking at our disabled veterans, which we have 71 of them in the state, in the town of Derry, to increase their fund, their tax credit to the full amount that they're allowed for the state RSA would add roughly 2.8 cents to the current tax rate that you guys are working on here. And if the assessed valuation goes up $1 million, at that tax rate, we're going to bring in $150,000. Well, the 142 that you need to do to get these guys to the full benefit is a wash if that happens. I know everything is done on estimated and projected. So our numbers are projected, our numbers are estimated, just like yours are for the whole budget. So I really hope that, and I know it's hard, I know the budget's where it is, but I hope you really consider this and do something at least for the 100% disabled veterans this as soon as you can, because they are getting older. The World War II veterans are pretty much depleted. The Korean War veterans are there. The Vietnam veterans are in the forefront now. And like I said during our initial meeting here, they're passing away, they're moving on to nursing homes. They have to move and get out of their property because they can't afford to live here. I know you've heard that for many years, but these 71 guys deserve better than have to worry about something like that. So I would appreciate it if you could really give us a sincere thought of this and do something to help us out. Brian, thank you. I know that you posted that this was your last year on
Yes.
sitting up there, and I appreciate it. I know we rarely have seen eye to eye, but we always can work things out and get there. And to the people in the different departments that helped us gather all the information to present to you people about the veteran tax credits, the town clerk, the financial people, everybody that helped us, we really appreciate it. And I have to say a special thanks to Mike Fowler, because my yard is full of heavy equipment right now because they're finally changing the bridge on Sunset Ave. And I thank you people for allowing that to happen this year. Thank you.
Thanks, Ernie.
Good evening. I'm Stephen Scare, and I live in Nashua, New Hampshire, and I wanted to respond to some correspondence that I received from this town hall. 2 years ago, after my sign was taken down promoting Abigail Shrier's Irreversible Damage, the transgender craze seducing our daughters, and that was done by politically active people in town, Neil Weatherby sent me 2 greeting cards from this town hall accusing me of ignorance and, I quote, fear and hatred. I just wanted to quickly talk about some developments that for people to reflect on since then. Last month, there was a study, the Cass Review, based a 4-year thorough study in England, and it was conducted to see why there was such an upshot in children receiving gender services, particularly among young people, girls, with autism and PTSD. And what this exhaustive study concluded is, first of all, there's no sound evidence of any benefit to puberty blockers. So they aren't going to be treating the kids with those anymore, no new kids. No sound evidence that cross-sex hormones help. And so their new policy is going to be focused on psychotherapy to treat the underlying conditions that lead to the confusion. And it also realizes what the whole book that I had put up was, the point was that it is spreading as a social craze, that girls are getting these ideas of having gender identities from each other and social media, and now pornography has a whole lot to do with this. Just 2 other quick thoughts. One is, it's ironic when people are fighting book bans that there would be such an outcry for a respected book being advertised in town. 2, as far as hating the LGBT community, probably my biggest allies are gay people, particularly Gays Against Groomers being very active. So what I'd like people to do is just catch up with recent events, look at the Cass Review, and see if we want to work together to keep kids safe. So thank you very much.
Is there anyone else that would like to come up?
Owen, is there anybody online?
Seeing none, rise online, Madam Chair.
Seeing none online and no one else rising, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
We have a motion to close public forum, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? All right, public forum is closed. Next up is the consent agenda. We have several items. Before I do it, are we all okay to do it all as one? There's nothing.
Yes.
I'm fine.
So we have 2437, which is approving the minutes from the April 16th meeting, 2438, which is approving the minutes from the April 18th meeting, 2439, which is approving minutes from the April 23rd budget public hearing, 2440, which is resolution 2024-025 to accept a Bureau of Justice assistance grant for body-worn cameras. There will be a public hearing for that on May 21st. 2341, which is resolution 2024-026 to accept a gift from the Injury Prevention Center at Dartmouth Hitchcock. And per our council policy adopted under Resolution 2023-039, a gift of less than $1,000 is authorized to be accepted under the consent agenda, so we do not have to have this as a separate agenda item. And finally, 2342, Resolution 2024-027, the BVP grant program, and that also will have a public hearing on May 21st.
Madam Chairman, if there are no changes from the councilors, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as published.
All right, we have a motion by Councilor McEachern, second by Councilor Foote to approve the consent agenda. On the motion, Councilor Cherichello?
Yes.
Councilor Foote?
Yes.
Councilor Flood?
Yes.
Councilor Granessi?
Yes.
Councilor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. All right, on to chair's report. So here we have a couple of appointments this evening. The first one is for the Derry Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Can I do these both together, or do we need to do them separate? Probably do them together, right?
Up to you.
Yeah, I can do them together. So we'll do them together. There's one for the Derry Housing and Redevelopment Authority. The applicant is Joyce Fairbrother. And so I move to appoint Joyce Fairbrother as a tenant member of the Derry Housing and Redevelopment Authority for a term to expire March 31st, 2025. And then we also have an opening on the Heritage Commission, so I move to appoint Kevin Bartholomew as an alternate member of the Heritage Commission for a term to expire March 31st, 2025.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. On the motion, Councilor Cherichello?
Yes.
Councilor Foote?
Yes.
Councilor Flood?
Yes.
Councilor Granessi?
Yes.
Councilor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. I do have a couple of other quick items under chair's report that aren't here. One, I just wanted to very quickly just address, that we had the presentation on the veterans disability tax credits previously, and I just want to let you know that we are still discussing, so that is why you haven't heard, and we won't be voting on anything this evening, but we're still looking into some pieces, so we will be coming back with more information on that in a future meeting. And then I also, in recognition of Professional Municipal Clerks Week, would just like to read a proclamation out for that as well. So whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is a vital part of local government that exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas Derry's town clerk, Christina Guilford, provides the professional link between the citizens, local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas Tina has pledged to be ever mindful of the neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas she serves as the information center on the functions of local government and community, and whereas Tina continually strives to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of the state of New Hampshire, county, and international professional organizations, and whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize all municipal clerks for the services they perform, and now, therefore, we, the Derry Town Council, recognize the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and extend our appreciation to Tina Guilford for her exemplary dedication to the town of Derry. Thank you for all you do, Tina. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Tina.
Yay, Tina.
No speech.
No,
Keep the meeting going.
apparently that's the
All
speech.
right, that's all I've got, so I will turn it over to Town Administrator.
Well, thank you. As the council is aware, excuse me, our longtime planning director, George Sealers, is retiring on September 1st, and we strive to implement a succession planning here. And for the planning department, it was sort of a unique succession plan, but it worked out just as well. You folks are all intimately familiar with Liz Robideau, who served in our department for, I think, 16 years. Liz recently took the position last year as a director of planning for the town of Hooksett. And so once George knew of his plans, we reached out to Liz, we discussed it with her, and I'm very pleased to announce that Liz has agreed to return to Derry as our planning director to begin in August, mid-August. And so I was looking for the council to adopt the resolution. I don't have the number. There's 2024-022, to confirm the appointment of Elizabeth Robideau as a planning director for the town of Derry.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion. I move that the town council adopt resolution 2024-22 as follows. To confirm the appointment of planning director, whereas section 8.6B of the town charter requires the town council confirm the appointment of certain officers and employees, and whereas there will be an impending vacancy in the office of the planning director due to the retirement of a long-serving director, and whereas the town administrator has appointed a candidate who possesses the necessary skills and experience to succeed in this position. Now therefore be it resolved in council that the appointment of Elizabeth Robideau as planning director is hereby confirmed. This resolution shall take effect on May 7th, 2024.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilor Ganesi, seconded by Councilor McEachern. On the motion, Councilor Cherichello?
Yes, and could I say a brief, quick word? Everybody knows that I've been talking about a lot of institutional knowledge leaving Derry in the next year, 2 years. And it was very concerning to me. I'm very pleased that Elizabeth is coming back to Derry because she's got the institutional knowledge. So I'm very happy that at least that department, I feel confident that that department's going to shine, and I'm happy that she's coming back. So my vote is yes.
Councilor Foote?
Absolutely.
Councilor Flood?
Yes.
Councilor Ganesi?
Yes, and looking forward to working with you once again as, because I'm the liaison to the planning board. So it's a win for Derry. Absolutely, yes.
Councilor McEachern?
Absolutely.
And chair votes yes. Motion passes 6-0. Welcome home. I know, if you want
Yeah, come on up.
to come up and,
They can see how much you've changed in a year, Liz.
You know, Liz started as a clerk here many years ago, worked her way up, received her AICP certification, got all her education requirements, and great to have her back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Council, Mr. Karen, thank you. I am very grateful for the opportunity to be able to come back to Derry. It's where I grew up. It's my home, even though I live elsewhere. And I'm looking forward to continuing the vision that we all work so hard to create here and to make Derry, you know, as best as it absolutely can be, and make it the destination that everyone wants it to be. So looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
See you soon.
Yes. Enjoy your summers.
right.
Looking for council input into our summer meeting schedule. Traditionally, the council has met once during the months of July and August. And looking at the calendar, we would suggest July 16th and August 13th.
Does anyone have any conflicts or want to change that? Those dates do work for me. Shockingly, they would work for me.
So we just cross out the 2nd and the 2nd of July and 6th of August, right?
Yeah.
All right?
I would suggest we
6th and
do,
the 20th
I would
of
suggest we do one meeting in June as well.
I'm with Brian.
You hear July 16th? Okay.
What was that?
Every-
August 13th.
All right, so we have one person that can't do August 13th, one that can't do July 16th, but everyone else can do both of those dates? Okay. So maybe I will, before we finalize that right now, I'll check with Councilor Webb as well, and then we'll see. The other dates, you could do the 20th? Okay. All right, I will
Any one
check.
of them works for me. Just
Okay. Does anyone else have any conflicts with any Tuesdays in July or August? We have to.
yeah, what they are.
I got tons, but we'll figure that out. All right, I'll check with Councilor Webb when he's back, and then we'll finalize then. Okay.
The next item is the budget is expected to be acted upon this evening is the FY25 goal-setting process. Historically, for the last several years, which has worked very well, is that each counselor has submitted a priority of 5 goals to my office. I've compiled those, and actually, the last several years, the council has really been aligned on those community goals. So we simply brought them forward for adoption of the resolution. And if they do not align, then typically the council will either segment a portion of a meeting or have a separate goal workshop to review those. So If the council's in concurrence, we can start that process, and then we'll have the preliminary information back to the council for your next meeting.
I think that process has worked. Are there any other thoughts or comments? All right. That sounds perfect then. Thank you.
Several other items just to touch on is that we authorized the execution of the remaining 5 contracts on the central fire station. We're still looking at some value engineering issues. One of the challenges under our tax cap is that when we have the capacity to complete a project because the CPI is high and we can bring the debt service under the tax cap, it's also somewhat of an inflationary period. So we're dealing with some of those issues now, but we had another Zoom meeting with Mike Fowler and Chief Haggard and the architect and the construction manager. So we'll be proceeding along those, and the last goal, or the last date we had was we were anticipating a completion of around March or April of 2025. So as you may have been by, a lot of the site work is complete, a lot of the foundation is in. It's now we're looking at the HVAC, the plumbing, the electrical, and the general contractor, which is the structural frame of the building. So that'll be moving forward. We'll be signing the contracts this week. On the revenue side, continue to perform well within 2 months remaining the fiscal year. We do not anticipate any significant revenue source experiencing deficits at year end. In fact, some of the revenue sources have exceeded our year-end projections at this point. Great weather today, which also means mosquitoes, unfortunately. So our annual program has kicked off the week of April 8th, which includes treating areas which typically are breeding grounds for mosquitoes. There is information on the town's website for some residents, all residents, specifically for those residents who choose not to have treatment on their property. There's a process you can go through, so please visit our website. The council may recall is that the council approved the formation of Derry Community Power as our default electricity provider. Because of the rates over the summer, it didn't make sense to move forward. But now we're starting to get a better sense of what the long-term rates will be. So Mike Fowler's team is managing that, and we'll be revisiting the issue in May with an eye towards next winter's pricing structure. As Ernie said, there's culvert replacement happening on Sunset Avenue, and that's going to begin on June 17th. Local residents will have access to their properties, but through traffic will not be allowed through, so please note that as well. And on legislative update, Senate Bill 589, which is the wastewater surcharge, it passed the Senate, it passed the Resource Recreation Development Committee in a 19-1 affirmative vote a few weeks ago, and that is on the calendar for a House vote this Thursday. Senate Bill 553 is the Director of Town Investments. There was another exec with House Finance this afternoon, and hopefully they'll wrap that up hopefully tomorrow afternoon. And we are advocating either for an expedient legislate or an interim study recommendation. And that's all I had at this point.
Thank you. All right, public hearing. So our first public hearing is on Resolution 2024-019 to adopt revised user rate and fee schedules for Derry Water customers. Mike Fowler presenting.
Okay, good evening. Mike Fowler and Tom Carrier here for the Department of Public Works to talk about FY25 water rate and fee adjustments. This will be a public hearing as these were provided during our public hearing for the budget back in early April. So we want to formalize this process, and all of these items are within your budget that you'll be voting on in the next, 15 minutes to half an hour. So with that, I'll pass this over to Tom. He's got a couple of slides that he'd like to go through and just kind of explain where we are relative to the market and some of the justifications behind the increases that we're proposing tonight for water rates and fees.
Good evening, councilors. As we touched on at the budget hearing, the water and sewer rates are reviewed annually as part of the budget process. The FY25 water budget was proposed at $4,462,000. It was about 3.4% increase over FY24. At our current water rates, we were projecting a $185,000 revenue shortfall. That's primarily due to a reduction in use of unrestricted fund balance from FY24 to FY25, as well as an assumed 10% rate increase for Manchester Waterworks for Derry's wholesale water purchase. To recover that shortfall, we're proposing an increase in our usage rate of 19 cents per 100 cubic feet to $3.37 per 100 cubic feet for our in-town water customers, and an increase of 22 cents to $3.88 for our out-of-town water customers. That's a 15% surcharge for customers that are primarily located in the town of Londonderry, and that's allowed under the Public Utilities Commission rules. Our base charge would increase by $3 to $33 per quarter per residential or metered commercial unit. And that would go to $37 per unit for our out-of-town customers. This is just the rate table that shows the various size meters and the base rates that are associated. So the larger the meter, the larger the capacity, therefore the larger the base rate. And then you see the user rates for our in-town and out-of-town customers. Looking at the impacts of those rate adjustments by customer class, the average single-family residential water user will see a little over $2.20 per month increase on their quarterly water bill. Our larger commercial users will see somewhere around $34 a month. Those are ones that use 3, 4, 5,000 gallons a day. Those are our large water use. You'll see our Londonderry customers, our out-of-town customers, will see about a $3.03 increase to their water bill per month. Comparing those rates to our nearby communities of similar sizes, you'll see that Derry's annual bill, just about $389 a year, is about 26% less than our surrounding other utilities. Jumping over to water fees. Water fees are associated with services that are provided by the water department to our customers. Meters that are charged to new users, new customers, new connections to the system. They're required to be purchased through the town. The town buys the meters and then resells them to the individual developers. The Merrimack Source Development Charge, we hear about that every year. That's a charge that Manchester charges to their new and expanding users. Derry prepaid that capacity a few years back. To reimburse the rate payers for that prepaid, we mimic those charges to our new and expanding users. Of the new customers coming into Derry, they'll pay the same rate in Derry as they would pay to Manchester. Bulk water, that's a fee that we charge to private water companies that pull water from the Derry water system. We have a designated location on Transfer Lane, and they primarily pull water for the purposes of filling swimming pools, and during dry weather conditions, they'll pull water to private homeowners for supplementing their well yields. The town offers backflow testing. So backflow preventers are required, dependent upon the risk a certain commercial or industrial user has for a cross connection. And that's per state regulations. Those devices must be tested either once or twice, depending upon the hazard per year. Derry does offer that charge relatively at cost for what we charge, for what our rates are for our employees. Looking at those individual cost increases, so the increases for the meters are primarily driven by the vendor increases. You'll see a single residential water meter. Again, these are for new users. We do not charge for replacement meters as part of our meter change-out program. This is only for new users coming into the system or someone who upsizes their water service. So that'll go up to $356 from $331 in FY25, and it goes up from there based upon the meter size. Looking at the source development charges, again, for new and expanding users on the system, a 3/4 inch, which is a typical residential new service, would pay $1,264 for that connection. And again, that goes up, and that's all based on capacity. So the larger the meter, the larger capacity, therefore the larger development cost for that capacity. Our backflow testing fee, which we have not increased in several years, and is significantly below up to $100 charged by private companies. So that's being driven pretty much by wage and roll-up expenses for our employee costs. So that goes from $40 to $45. It's still significantly less, and it is a convenience for our customers, and most take advantage of that. Bulk water sales, again, that's being driven by the increases in our retail rates. We haven't increased that in a couple of years. So to reflect the increases in the retail rates, the charges for the bulk water will increase similarly to $4.50 for every 1,000 gallons. The estimated impact for those FY25 increases on the budget would be $10,600. A new single-family residential water connection will pay on the average $62 extra in FY25 for $2,700 and $2,700 for a 3/4-inch service connection. And I can take any questions at this point.
Do we want to,
If this is a public hearing, I'll make a motion to open a public hearing, Madam Chair.
motion to open public hearing, second. On the motion, Council Chiaritello?
Yes.
Council Foot?
Yes.
Council Flood?
Yes.
Council Granessi?
Yes.
Council McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. Public hearing is now open, if anyone would like to come speak.
Seeing none, rise online, Madam Chair.
I'll
All right, we have a motion to close.
second Mr. Foot's.
And a second on the motion, Council Chiaritello?
Yes.
Council Foot?
Yes.
Council Flood?
Yes.
Council Granessi?
Yes.
Council McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes as well. Motion passes 6-0. Any questions from the council?
I think Tom described this quite well last time and this time again. If there are no questions, I'm happy to read the resolution. All set. Okay. Resolution 2024-19 to adopt the revised user rate and fee schedule for the Derry water customers. Whereas RSA 3817 authorizes the council to enter into a supply contract with other municipalities for the purposes of purchasing water for customers of the Derry Water Department, and whereas the town has entered into a wholesale water supply contract with Manchester Water Works to provide water for its customers, and whereas the town council, on occasion, in accordance with RSA 3828, shall review water user rates to remain compliant with the town's contract with Manchester Water Works to fund necessary capital improvements to ensure the equitable distribution of expenses across all water user classifications, and whereas price increases for meters and other equipment have resulted in increased cost of the water utility, which charges should be borne by the customers requiring said services, and whereas the Manchester Water Works Merrimack River Source Development Charge is levied upon new or expanding water users, and these increased costs should likewise be borne by the customers requiring said services. Now therefore be it resolved in council that the town council hereby adopts the attached reserved user rate and fee schedules for the Derry water customers. This resolution shall take effect on all water uses bills on or after July 1st, 2024.
Second.
All right, a motion by Council McEachern, seconded by Councilor Granessi, right? All right. On the motion, Council Chiaritello?
Yes.
Councilor Foot?
Yes.
Council Flood?
Yes.
Council Granessi?
Yes.
Council McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Next up is 2024-020 to adopt revised user rate and fee schedules for Derry wastewater customers.
All right, we'll kick it off again here. So same story, we were here at the budget presentation to talk about the justification behind these. This is the formalizing of the rate increases and fee adjustments that would be forthcoming in the FY25 budget effective after July 1, 2024. So with no further ado, I'll pass it off to Tom for the details of what we're looking for tonight.
So likewise, the rates and fees for wastewater are reviewed annually as part of the budget process. The wastewater budget, as proposed at the public hearing, is at $3,948,560. That's a 2.8% increase over FY24. At our current rates, we were projecting a $90,000 revenue shortfall. That increase is primarily due to an increase in our debt service. We replaced a 1997 sewer jet vac truck as part of this current budget. That is our frontline truck that is responsible for cleaning the entire sewer collection system. We do that every 3 years. We got 27 years out of that current truck. Its purchase price was a little over $500,000. So the lease purchase debt service on that is reflected in that $90,000 shortfall primarily. The usage rate, we're proposing an increase of 16 cents per 100 cubic feet to $4.05 per 100 cubic feet. And on the base charge, $3 increase from $44 to $47 per quarter per residential or commercially metered unit. Again, similarly to water and wastewater, those base charges do include 500 cubic feet of usage, so the usage rates don't apply until after the first 500 cubic feet of usage, so that is part of the base charge. This is the impacts on the individual customer classes. You'll see that the single-family average residential sewer customer will pay about $2 more a month on their quarterly sewer bill. You'll see the larger industrial users will pay as much as $24 a month for their large dischargers. You'll see the town of Londonderry. Town of Londonderry, under our intermunicipal agreement, is currently treated as a large retail customer, so they pay the same retail rates as Derry sewer customers. So based on their current usage, they'll see about a $3,500 per month increase to their sewer charges. And that's about a 5% increase on those rates. Again, looking at Derry's sewer rates compared to our surrounding communities, so Derry's $500 per year sewer charge is about 25% less than the average of those other communities. It's $658. So again, we still compare, and those are Derry's proposed rates compared to those other communities' current rates. So it's reasonable to assume that those other communities will also see increases in the coming budgets as well. So that will only look more favorable on where Derry stands. Looking at Derry's fees, a few of our fees include septic disposal. Derry accepts hauled wastewater at its treatment plant. We do not accept concentrated septage, which are for those properties that have septic systems with leach fields, where the gray water goes into the leach field and the strong strength solids are discharged into a septic tank. We don't accept those because we can't treat that. So those wastes are hauled to, for example, Allenstown Wastewater Treatment Facility, where we have an intermunicipal agreement that they accept that there. So what we're talking here is primarily holding tanks. These are where the gray water and the solids all go into a common tank, and they pump them out on a more frequent basis, and it's a lower strength waste. So we are able to treat that. It also includes recreational vehicles, campers. They do bring that and dispose of that at our facility. We allow that, as well as portable chemical toilets for the Derry business. We do accept that waste here at Derry as well. And then we have what we call the wastewater accessibility fee that was adopted in the 1980s for the purpose of offsetting the cost of upgrading the treatment plant. Specifically at that time, it was for the construction of the third treatment lagoon. So these are the proposed increases. Now, the hauled wastewater, if you look at what other wastewater treatment plants are charging, they're averaging about $76 per thousand. We haven't increased that rate, I will say, in 30 years. So with chemical toilets being a very high strength waste, even though it's a holding tank, we think it's appropriate to be more in line with what a septic disposal cost would be. So we're proposing to implement that cost over 2 years with a $54 charge per 1,000 gallons in FY25 to $76 per 1,000 gallons in FY26. RV disposal, they've been charging the same rate as the large waste haulers at $32 per 1,000. We're proposing to charge just a flat rate of $20 for each time they bring in a camper to dispose of our facility. While it's a significantly less amount of waste, it's still the same amount of overhead costs at accepting the wastes. The wastewater accessibility fee, this was reviewed in light of the proposed construction of the improvements at the wastewater treatment plant. So we base these numbers on what the impacts are going to be based on the current assumed construction costs of the improvements. We do know that we're looking at those again. So we will be coming back to the council with that cost at some point in the next year or so. But we do want to implement those increases on the wastewater accessibility fee incrementally. So we are proposing next year to go to $3.76. Again, these are for new and expanding users. Okay, these are not for current users. Would be for a new connection, they'd pay $3.76 per gallon per day of discharge for a commercial or an industrial facility, or for a residential connection, they'll pay $627 next year per bedroom. And that will increase $412 and $687 per bedroom in fiscal year '26, and then gradually go to $747 a bedroom, or $4.48 per gallon per day. We will look at those again as we get more refined costs on what the expansion of the facility is going to be, so that those new users can pay their fair share of the cost of expanding that facility. The estimated impact of the septage and disposal fees for the RVs and chemical toilets, et cetera, on the FY25 budget would be $1,500 in added revenues. The estimated net impact of the wastewater accessibility fee in FY25 would be $12,500 in additional revenues, $9,000 of which of that will be billable to the town of Londonderry under our intermunicipal agreement. So a new 3-bedroom single-family home that would connect to the Derry sewer system will go from paying $1,700 to $1,881, or an additional $880. That would gradually, under the proposal that we have this evening, to $2,241 in FY27. Now, the impact of the town of Londonderry, under our intermunicipal agreement, Londonderry purchases capacity at the Derry treatment plant, 25,000 gallons per day per year, up to their maximum of 500,000 gallons a day. So that capacity is to be purchased at our prevailing wastewater accessibility fee. So they're currently paying it under the existing rate of $85,000 a year. That would go to $94,000 in FY25, and again, under the rate structure that we're looking at this evening, would go to $112,000 in FY27. Just a quick look at how our fees compare. And wastewater accessibility fees are difficult because of the type of facility. We're a lagoon facility, so it's a little less maintenance than like an activated sludge plant. But just to kind of give you a feel, Derry's proposing to go around $1,881 to $2,200 for a new connection, new 3-bedroom home. And you look at Merrimack at $2,000, Hampton at $2,800, Londonderry $3,400 for new homes. And then looking at the septic disposal, again, the average of all those facilities that accept septic is $76. So we're proposing to go to $54 next year, and to be at the average of $76 in FY26. And with that, I would take questions.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to open public hearing and a second on the motion. Counselor Chirichillo?
Yes.
Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Flood?
Yes.
Counselor Ganesi?
Yes.
Counselor McEachern?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Public hearing is open. If anyone would like to speak?
Owen?
Seeing none, rise online, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Good evening, Richard Tripp, 44 Wyndham Road. My question deals with there's a lot of development going on here in Derry. You know, there's the properties that are on Rockingham Road that's being put in. I believe that's like 115 units or whatever. And there's, I don't know when, if ever, the Abbott's Court development is going to happen, but that's, I think, supposed to be a little over 300 units. The question I have is, what are the plans for all this additional load on the sewer system? Is what the facilities we have, is it adequate to take on the new developments that are coming into town? And I know that's a Tom question, so I'll get up and let him answer it.
Yes, quick answer. So we did update our wastewater facilities master plan, and we looked at all the development potential in town, the Route 28 corridor, the Exit 4A area, infill within the downtown area, et cetera. And we projected out of what our necessary treatment capacity will be. So we feel confident that we have sufficient capacity to treat the waste from all of those developments that are proposed at the moment, as well as our commitment to the town of Londonderry under the intermunicipal agreement.
Thank you. Oh, and is
Seeing-
there still one?
Seeing no
Seeing
one
none,
else-
rise online, Madam Chair.
Seeing no one else, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, Madam Chair.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to close the public hearing and a second on the motion. Counselor Chiaritello?
Yes.
Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Flood?
Yes.
Counselor Ganesi?
Yes.
Counselor McEckern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Motion passes 6-0. We are closed for public hearing. Any counselor comments? Yes, Counselor
I
Chiaritello?
just have a quick question. Could you go back to 2 slides ago? Next
Water?
One
Sewer?
back. Where the hall rates were, right there.
There you go.
So I thought I heard you say that the hauled is people that use they have the trucks that they
Mhm.
use, right?
Correct.
And this is more of a revenue stream for us?
So these are from Derry properties only. So I'm sorry, let me clarify.
Okay.
The hauled wastewater is from holding tanks. The waste is all generated in Derry. We do have, under our original intermunicipal agreement with Londonderry, up to 10,000 gallons from the town of Londonderry. And there is actually a provision in our agreement from the town of Litchfield when we built the effluent force main to accept septage from that community as well. However, this is only holding tank waste, so it's primarily all generated here in Derry.
Okay, and then I thought I heard you said that typically it's just the $76 per 1,000 is probably the market rate, for lack of a better word. And you just wanted to get to that point within 2 years.
We figured incrementally would be easier to let the haulers adjust with their customers.
Okay, and that was, so therein lies my question. And that's fine with me, but I'm just trying to figure out why we're doing it incrementally. Over 2 years versus, like the 54, could that be higher?
It certainly could be. Really, the thinking was that we've been at $32 for many years, and the haulers have built that into their pricing to their customers. Again, we're talking for Derry residents.
For Derry residents, okay.
And that implementing it over 2 years, we were looking at almost doubling the charge. As an increment of what they charge their customers, it's a small portion. The disposal fee itself mostly is the trucking cost.
Okay.
So revenue stream wise, we think that it's a small increment in our budget, but it is necessary to be more competitive and be more in line with the other facilities.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was Derry, basically Derry only. I thought it was other
just Derry.
communities using that. But, okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, hearing no other questions, Madam Chair, I'll read the resolution into the record. Resolution 2024-20, to adopt the revised user rate schedule for the Derry wastewater customer. Whereas RSA 149-1:1 authorizes the town council to construct and maintain public sewer facilities for public convenience, health, or welfare. And whereas the town has enacted a structure of sewer fees to ensure the system is properly funded. And whereas the town council, on occasion, in accordance with RSA 149I:8, shall review wastewater sewer rents to ensure that adequate revenues are received to fund the operating expenses and necessary capital improvements, and to ensure the equitable distribution of said expenses across all wastewater user classifications. Now therefore be resolved in council that the town council hereby adopts the attached revised user rate schedule for the Derry wastewater customers. Resolution shall take effect on all sewer usage billed on or after July 1st, 2024.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Counsel McEckern, second by Counselor Chiaritello. On the motion, Counselor Chiaritello?
Yes.
Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Flood?
Yes.
Counselor Ganesi?
Yes.
Counselor McEckern?
Yes,
And chair votes yes. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank
Thank
you.
you both.
Thank you, councilors.
as always, a great job, Tom. Thank you.
All right, moving on to new business, we have item 2429, Resolution 2024-016 to adopt the FY25 town budget. Dave Karen presenting.
Thank you. We request the council adopt resolution number 2024-016. We began the budget review process the beginning of last month. We've had 4 different events or workshops to review it. We also had a public hearing on April 23rd. Since that time, we've not received any additional questions or comments from the council, so we request that you adopt resolution number 2024-016 for a town budget of $66,108,370, which ensures they remain under the tax cap as required under our town charter.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments about the budget?
Seeing no comments, Madam Chair, I'd like to read the resolution into the record. Resolution 2024-16 to adopt the FY24 budget. Whereas Section 9.4, the DerryCAM Charter, vests the town council with the responsibility to enact the town budget by May 31st. And whereas the town council has reviewed and made revisions to the budget as proposed by the town administrator, now therefore be it resolved in council that the town council hereby adopt the FY25 town budget in the amount of $66,108,370 as set forth in the attached summary in our folders. This resolution shall take effect July 1st, 2024.
All right, motion by Councilor McEachern, second by Councilor Chiricello. On the motion, Councilor Chiricello.
Yes.
Councilor Foot.
Yes.
Councilor Flood.
Yes.
Councilor Ganesi.
Yes.
Councilor McEachern.
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. All right, 2443 is Resolution 2024-017 FY30 Capital Improvement Plan. Again, Dave Karen.
Okay, thank you. A further responsibility of the town council under the town charter is consider the adoption of a multi-year capital improvements plan. As a reminder, this is a plan document, and only the projects within the plan which have been approved in your operating budget are authorized to move forward. We recommend that the council approve resolution number 2024-017, which sets forth our plan for FY25 through FY30.
Thank you. Any questions before we read the resolution?
Seeing no question, I'll read the resolution. Resolution 2024-17 to adopt the FY25-2030 capital improvement plan. Whereas Section 9 of the town charter vests the town council with the responsibility to adopt the capital improvements plan by May 31st, and whereas the planning board has reviewed the plan and proposed no revisions, whereas pursuant to 674:5, the plan is a good tool to assist the town council in the consideration of the annual budget. Whereas the town council has reviewed the plan proposed by the town treasurer and made any amendments to the plan, now therefore be resolved in council, the town council hereby adopts the FY25-2030 capital improvement plan. Resolution shall take effect July 1st, 2024. Second.
All right, by Councilor McEachern, second by Councilor Ganesi. On the motion, Councilor Chiricello.
Yes.
Councilor Foot.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Ganesi.
Yes.
Councilor McEachern.
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. I just want to, before we move on, say thank you to everybody involved in putting together this budget and to all the presentations. It just makes, this is the largest budget I've ever had to vote on. And all of the town council ones every year, it's just the smoothest process that I deal with. So thank you very much for all your hard work to get this budget ready and passed.
I'd echo those sentiments. Thank you.
All right, next up is 2444, Resolution 2024-023 to execute a project agreement with the New Hampshire Department of Transportation for Derry Rail Trail Improvement Project. Director of Public Works, Mike Fowler, presenting.
Good evening. Tonight, what we want to bring forward is a opportunity for the town council to start the process of the planning and engineering for the section of rail trail that is basically the last link to get us to Londonderry. As everybody's aware, we've built the rail trail in segments throughout the history of Derry. Most recently, we did the section across the Hood Pond Dam. Now that brings us to basically the area of where Exit 4A is going to be constructed. So what still remains is when Exit 4A is built, you'll have the intersection of Folsom Road, and there'll be a new four-way intersection. Bicyclists will either cross at grade or use the combined Shields Brook, Culvert, and rail trail section. From that point north, the town had applied for a grant in 2021, and it was put into the 10-year state transportation plan application process. So we had heard back in an affirmative manner that project had been added to the list, but then at some point due to other priorities with the state, it was then I recall about, I want to say back March, indicating that that project is back in year plan. It has a construction year of 2032. But what they come back with is, if we sign this project agreement at this point for the engineering work to be conducted after July 1, 2024, we go through and we do a thorough design. There's an opportunity for the town, if we have a shovel-ready project in 2027, to have our project advance. And that matches up pretty good with where we're going to be after the Exit 4A contract B. So we're trying to align ourselves 2 to 3 years out. But what I'd like to do at this point is sign the project agreement. We will proceed with the selection of an engineering consultant, start the process of the design, wetland permitting. There's a culvert that has to be crossed. So there's a few items that are a little bit more elaborate than a standard rail trail design. But we'd like to give ample time to get that design vetted with everybody. So we've been, and we mentioned this during the budget workshop, is proposing to use $200,000 of funds from the TIF district, with $106,000 coming back in the form of an 80% grant. Technically, it's net $40,000 to proceed hearing. DPW would manage a municipally managed project, and then once the design is complete, we'll come back to town council, fortify what the cost estimates are, and then proceed forward according to what the timeframes on are that. So essentially what being asked to do is, obviously already in the expenditure and revenue within the FY25 budget, not to sign the project agreement as a conviction to move forward on the project. We'll submit the OT, and that will move us forward from there.
Any questions, comments? Sure.
Mike, you said that it was in the 10-year highway, public works, the 10-year plan. What year was that originally in?
So right now it's in at 2032.
Right. What was it?
You know, I know in 21 when we initially applied, I want to say it was either 25 or 26. It was still a few years out, but it didn't last very long, and the list was just pushed aside and deferred, and many projects have lately.
Right. And do you think it could possibly get pushed again?
You know, there's always a possibility. I mean, it depends on gas tax revenues, and you State House, I mean, you know what's going on in the legislature. Right now, you know, we're trying to get ourselves a shovel-ready project, because what we're finding is a lot of times it's kind of strange. A lot of these projects get tangled up in regulatory hurdles or other hurdles on local funding not being available. But if you have a project that's ready, DOT or other agencies want to try to keep the ball moving, so they may move us in and defer an project. So we just want to have that possibility, that option.
I understand $40,000 to do the engineering work, fine. What do you know what's going on the Londonderry side?
We are aware that they're trying to finish that last link 28 to the Derry Londonderry. I had seen grade stakes out there probably about 2 years ago, and it looked as it appeared there was going to be some work, but I have not heard that there's been any push to move forward with construction. That might be something to check in and link in with Londonderry to see where they're at.
Okay, thank you.
Hearing no other questions, Madam Chair, read the resolution, it's okay? Yep, it's okay. Resolution number 2024-23, to enter into a project agreement with NHDOT for the Derry Rail Trail Improvement Project, where Section 5.1 of the town charter designates the town council as the governing and legislative body of the town, whereas the town has an interest in completing the rail trail system in Derry to the Londonderry line, and whereas the state of New Hampshire has included the Derry Rail Trail Improvement Project into the state 10-year highway plan under Federal Transportation Alternatives Program and has agreed to pay 80% of the cost, and whereas the local share will be paid from the Gateway TIF Increment Finance Fund, as one of the goals of the Gateway TIF Development Plan is to provide an alternative modes of transportation, and whereas the project will be managed by the Town Department of Public Works, which requires a project agreement between the town and NHDOT. Now therefore be resolved in council that the town administrator is hereby authorized to execute a project plan with the New Hampshire Department of Transportation for the Rail Trail Improvement Project. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage.
We have a motion by Councilman Geckner, second by Councilor Foot. On motion, Councilor Cello.
Madam Chair, I'm going to vote yes, but I've got some reservations. I understand lining it up with the side of Derry to get that prepared, but I have concerns about the Londonderry side. There's question marks there, and I just, see a project that goes nowhere. And so that's where I'm going to vote yes because it makes sense that we can get it ready, but I have some concerns there, but I'll vote yes.
Okay, Councilor Foot?
Yes.
Councilor Finn?
Yes.
Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Geckner? Chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. All right, last up, 2445, Resolution 2024-024 to authorize Cathedral Ledge Distillery to serve spirit samples at the Derry Homegrown Farm and Artisans Market. Town Administrator presenting.
Thank you. Yeah, the Artisans Market allows for spirits and alcohol taken at that location. In order for a vendor to participate, they need approval from the council prior to receiving their license from the State Liquor Commission. This is for the Cathedral Ledge Distillery, and the approval will be in effect indefinitely further rescinded. So the council hasn't seen one of these in a couple of years, 3 or 4 years ago. We had a dozen of these coming through. So we request that the council go ahead and adopt the resolution 24024, which allows Cathedral Ledge Distillery to provide liquor samples during the Homegrown Farm and Artisan Market beginning this summer.
Thank you. Any questions on this one?
Well, seeing no questions, Madam Chair, I'll read Resolution 2024-24 into the record to authorize Cathedral Ledge Distillery to serve samples at the Derry Homegrown Farm and Artisan Market, Whereas Section 5.1 of the town charter designates the town council as the legislative body of the town, and as such, it is empowered to act in accordance with RSA 179:40, and whereas RSA 179:40, 2, all beverage manufacturers, and no brew pubs to provide samples for tasting at a farmer's market contingent upon written authorization of the governing body, and whereas several vendors participate in the dairy, homegrown farm, and arts market. Now therefore be resolved in council that the Cathedral Edge Distillery is hereby authorized to provide liquor samples during all dairy, homegrown farm, and artisan market events, contingent upon compliance with all applicable state statutes in the town and dairy ordinances. This resolution shall take immediately upon passage and shall remain in effect until rescinded by the town council.
All right, motion by Councilor McEachern, second by Councilor Foot. On the motion, Councilor Chiller?
Yes.
Councilor Foot?
Yes.
Councilor Flood?
Yes.
Councilor Canesi?
Yes.
Councilor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. All right, any councilor comments this evening? Councilor Canesi?
Madam Chair, thank you. So this past Saturday, there was a bunch of stuff going on. So it was Derby Day downtown. I went down to Hood Pond, watched everybody fish down there. There was a lot of people attended and walking around town, and I was downtown a couple of times, actually. I ended up bringing my little dog down to back. But yeah, I just want to say it was a great day, and I want to thank everybody who attended, volunteers, make that day a huge success downtown. Historical meeting was with people, so a great day. So on the 4th, I attended the Loyalty Day over the post 16-17 the ceremony, and they gave the awards, and I just want to mention congratulations to the award recipients. So the Fighter of the Year went out to Lieutenant John Hines. The Paramedic of the Year went out to Lieutenant E. Major. Dispatcher of the Year went out to Uncles. Law Enforcement Officer of the Year went out to Officer Ryan Landry. Voice of Democracy Awards Post went to 2 people, Sue Grayson Cahoon and Laura Owens. The VFW's Post Patriots Post Award, the 3 people, Frankie DiLorenzo, Aaron Rakasak, apologize if I pronounced his name wrong, and Madeline Christensen. The Community Community Award went most of the time in auto repair in Derry, and he also stated that I guess if you're a veteran, he gives you a sticker, which is awesome. And I just want to thank Commander Isaac Miller's whole team. Unbelievable job on Saturday, so it was an event.
Thank you. Yes, congratulations to all the award winners. I'm sorry that I missed that in the year. Councilor Foot?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the next meeting, I will not be here. My daughter will be getting an academic award, so I'll be partaking in that. Opposed to you fine people, but my apologies. But having said, for me that do know, Monday, May 27th is Memorial Day. I've taken part in an independent project with some members from the VW, and we're going to be cleaning up some of the markers, the Veterans Memorial markers at the cemetery, starting this Saturday. It'll be Saturday and Sunday this weekend and the following weekend, starting at 9 a.m. and we clean up all the markers. There's over 800 veterans interred in our cemetery up there. So we've gotten the blessing from Mike Fowler and his crew to go up and do that, take on that task. Bill Jamro and Mike's office has been very helpful in helping with mapping and things like that. So I invite any and all who wish to attend to come out and help us basically be sweat equity, onions and knees, cleaning up some of the markers, polishing them, edging around and making them nice and neat, and getting them prepared for Memorial Day before the flags go in. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll be there. I'll just need someone to help me get off.
And there's multi-organizational things, the Rotary helping out. We have offered that out to some scouts. Anyone who's volunteer hours, we sign them off on that for any of the students that need that. And some members of the Chamber of Commerce would have offered to help out as well. So I invite everyone to come and get involved.
Okay.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Seeing no other comments, motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Second.
All right, motion to adjourn and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, very done. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.